And joining me now is Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan. Mayor Duggan, it's always good to see you.
Thanks for having me, Christy.
All right, so you're up here at the Mackinac Policy Conference for the first time post-emergency manager. Do you view this as an opportunity to sell Detroit or really tell Detroit's story?
You know, I've been coming to this for well over 25 years. There were years where we were convincing people to build a baseball and a football stadium in Detroit. There were times we were convincing people to support us on an airport expansion. And right now, as much as anything else, I'm trying to get legislators to go along with a car insurance reform because we've got to cut the cost of car insurance in Detroit.
You testified earlier this week in Lansing. What was the reaction of legislators up there?
I think it was very good, and the Senate Insurance Committee is going to hold their vote this coming week. And I'm optimistic we're going to get it out of committee. So it's going to be hopefully progress.
Some lawmakers were talking about, well, if we do this for Detroit, we'd have to do this for other areas of Michigan. What would your counter be to that?
I would say I'm happy if it's done for everybody, but right now, the average cost of insuring a car in Detroit is $3,400. In the suburbs, that same car is being insured for $1,700. And the difference is entirely in the health care costs and what's going on in the system. It's not anything else. It's not fair. And so I've proposed an option where Detroiters could buy lower health care coverage and be the same as 49 other states and save $1,000 each, or they can keep buying the full benefit policy if they want. Just give Detroiters an option. If legislators want to give everybody an option, it's fine with me, but the impact will be far greater on Detroit.
You've had to have a very good relationship with Lansing, or start to work with them very much, because not only of this reform that you're talking about, you're also now talking about education and really giving more of your vision of how you think DPS should be shaped, or all the schools in general in Detroit. Talk to me a little bit about what your thoughts are in terms of education, how that goes along with Governor Snyder's layout that he has done, and how it maybe differs from what the coalition has said.
Well, you know, I think what the coalition did was just outstanding. To have those 30 individuals spend that huge amount of time and come out with, I think, an excellent recommendations. So we'll see where it goes. I'm as far as the governor's decision to take the old debt, which was run up under the state emergency managers, everybody acknowledges it's the state's responsibility, and put that in a separate corporation, I think that's fine. Give the schools a fresh start. But I also think people in Detroit need to be able to elect a school board, just like every other city in this state. And I think if you held a new school board election in the next year, the best and brightest of Detroit would come out and run. I think people would get excited, and we start to get kids enrolling in the Detroit public schools again, and that's the direction I'm pushing.
But you're also pushing for some kind of financial review board as well to be able to oversee what's happening with the school board?
You know, I'm not necessarily pushing it, but I'm trying to find a compromise. So the governor says, okay, if we're going to pay off this past debt, how is the state assured it's not run up again? Well, the agreement we reached coming out of bankruptcy is that I report to a financial review commission. I monthly show them we're on budget, they approve contracts, and after we balance our budget for 3 years, they go away. I think it would be reasonable to say for the new school board to have the same thing for a period of time. And so I propose that as a middle ground, because I think it's absolutely essential Detroiters get a chance to elect their own school board.
You know, what do you say to parents who are watching this, kind of jockeying back and forth and trying to figure out what the exact final plan for DPS is going to be, and they're waiting to enroll their kids for the fall? What would you tell them?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's waiting. Detroiters, I mean, it's been chaos since the emergency manager took over. We've had, of the 200 schools in Detroit, 160 have opened and closed in the last 6 years, which has just been a devastating effect on education. And so parents are making decisions between the school their child is in and the alternative schools they can afford to get to. And most charters are not offering transportation. So for the third of the families in our city that don't have a car, they pretty much don't have a choice. And so Detroiters understand full well what's going on, and I'm trying to get to a system where we provide transportation so you have a choice, we provide you information on the schools so you can make that choice, and ultimately that we have an authority that controls the opening and closing of schools to make it rational. So I'm grinding away at it.
Well, you spoke earlier here at the conference about lowering EMS times, how about you're getting the lighting grid back and going, and how you're tackling the neighborhoods and blight, and really what the work of the land bank is doing. All of these things leading up to that ultimate goal of retaining population, or really growing the population, getting more people to move back in the city. What do you think is the one major roadblock to that?
Car insurance, there's no doubt. Now, single biggest problem for people in the city today is car insurance, and we got to deal with it. It's just too expensive.
Would you agree that also that the crime rates, are you happy with how the police department
There's
is?
no question the city's too violent. There's no question the schools aren't good enough. But if you're asking right now, today, what's affecting my life decision, when you can't get to a job because the jobs are in the suburbs, and you can't legally drive because you can't afford the car insurance, you have to move. And the most immediate problem we have right now is the ridiculous cost of car insurance.
All right, best conversation you've had so far up here.
With you, obviously.
Well, that goes without saying. All right, Mayor Mike Duggan, thanks so much for stopping by and joining us. We appreciate it.
Good to see you, Christy.
All right.